And greetings, boys and girls around the world. I'm still contemplating the meaning of the attack on Diana West and her book entitled American Betrayal. I have read some of the criticism of her book and gone away with the conclusion thus far that the criticism is baseless, insubstantial. They can't find anything wrong with her book, and they repeatedly make claims about the book that West does not claim herself. For example, they claim that she says that the United States of America would never have gone to war with Hitler except for the fact that communists had occupied the federal government, were pulling the strings. Without those communists in place inside the government, this is what they say she says: we would never have gone to war against Hitler, and we'd all be speaking German today. And they say, poppycock, we went to war against Hitler for our own national security. We didn't need communists to trick us into going to war against Hitler. Did she say that? Did she imply that? No, she said such things as, quote, or not quote, but paraphrase, toward the end of the war, members of the German High Command wanted to surrender. They contacted American officials in Europe and wanted a message given to the White House that they were willing to make a deal. None of these deals were considered because it does appear to me, based on books I have read, namely several books written about the war from Winston Churchill himself. It seems to me from reading Churchill that a plan was underway to give Russia a large part of Europe, Eastern Europe, at the end of the war. If the offers from the German High Command had been accepted by the White House, the war would have ended sooner. And if our advance from our American GIs had not been slowed down and diverted, the Russians would not have had time enough to cross the border of Russia into Eastern Europe, enter Germany, and been given the prize of Berlin themselves. They were given time. We slowed down. A man as savvy as Churchill did not trust the Russians. But FDR was elderly and ill. He soon died, and he was soon replaced by the new, inexperienced, in the dark Harry Truman. There are plenty of reasons to suspect that the American government was misled and influenced by communists, and we now know their names from the Russian archives via Vasily Mitrokhin and Alexander Vasiliev and other defectors, plus our own decryption of the Venona cables. Venona, V-E-N-O-N-A. Diane West builds a very credible case for excessive influence and interference in American diplomacy toward the end of World War II. That is all she says in her book. Nobody can refute it. She backs it up with footnotes, endnotes, stating her sources, showing you what paragraph from which document she is referring, to which she is referring. All of the criticisms of Diana West are without merit, without basis. They say nothing substantial. They don't even pick out a point she makes authentically and refute it. They ascribe things to her and then knock that down. It's called creating a straw man argument. And all of the so-called conservative sites, or many of them, have joined in this Bash West campaign without stating any substantial reason for their criticisms. This intrigues me, and it should intrigue you, because it looks like these critics of Diana West are engaged in the same disinformation, character assassination that she alleges took place in the State Department, Defense Department, White House at the end of World War II. It looks like the very same tactics being used again. The haters, I call them, I've been attacked by haters on YouTube, an army of internet haters. The haters, the influence artists, undoubtedly shaped American diplomacy toward the end of World War II. They have, in my opinion, continued to do so, and they're doing it now in their attack of Diana West, who would expose them and if they remained silent. One more thing. First, let me say that intelligence is the information that our enemies don't want us to have, which we somehow obtain. The prevention of this process is referred to as counterintelligence. The material in the Matrokin archives, the material gained by Harvey Klur and John Haynes, who wrote about Venona, this is considered intelligence. This reveals heretofore unknown information about what really happened. This clarifies what was an obscure and murky situation. This is what I mean by intelligence. Okay, and here's my comment. If these attackers of Diana West were so patriotic and so honest, so forthright, if they were so diligent in uncovering the activities of sympathetic Americans, sympathetic to Stalin specifically, and communism generally, if they were so diligent, if they were so trustworthy, why have they not incorporated this intelligence into the recent revisions of the bogus historical accounts of what happened? Why are they suppressing? Why are they ignoring the Venona decrypts, which would never have come to light except Senator Moynihan, Patrick Moynihan, had those top secret documents declassified so that scholars could study them. And if the incidents that led up to Boris Yeltsin becoming the leader of New Russia after the fall of the USSR, which resulted in our access to KGB files, which contain the records of the Communist Party USA, the Communist Party USA, to which Barack Obama's mentor, Frank Marshall Davis, was associated. There was an underground Communist Party to which Alger Hiss was associated. He was one of the architects of the United Nations, headquartered in New York City, the same UN that is now harping about human-caused climate change as a terrible crisis looming, trying to persuade Americans to give up their sovereignty and turn over the affairs of the United States to be run by the UN, which many of us know is dominated and controlled by communists. If these people, such as Ronald Radosh and David Horowitz, who attack Diana West, if these people are so diligent and so trustworthy, why have they suppressed and ignored this intelligence, a cornucopia of information out of the blue, revealing what really went on? Why is it being ignored? Why are no textbooks incorporating this recently revealed, rather recently, in the past 10 years, 10, 15 years? Why are the accounts of history unchanged? The same people who ignored this information, which exposes them, are the ones attacking Diana West. And one of their tactics is to say she says things that she doesn't say.